Hi, this is Bob Weiss. I'm the host of Shakin Your World. Cheers.
Folks, welcome home. Yet another episode of Shakin Your World here at Shakers in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We are honored to have Diamond with us today to talk about, what the heck are we going to talk about today, Diamond?
Whatever's on our mind, Bob. Just talk back and forth. Introduce myself, introduce yourself.
Okay. You are ripping up the world right now in your own format of software and a hardware product, and you're going crazy now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
We can talk about that.
Yeah. So I'm the CTO of a company called Cashdrop. It's a company where anyone can start a storefront in about 15 minutes. You sign up. You create an account, and then you can just sell anything: T-shirts, you can
contraband,
do hair, makeup,
crystal meth.
Yeah, we're gonna soon.
Porsches, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, we're slowly migrating to Oregon.
So you and Ruben have been working on this project for a while, right? Mm-hmm. And then, poof! Really, it seemed like out of nowhere. Even though you've been working for so long, now everybody in the merchant world is talking about what you're doing. Mm-hmm. That's got to be gratifying at the very least.
Yeah, it was years of hard work, starting a company, if you don't know anything, me and Ruben are both engineers, computer guys, we're not finance, marketing guys. Right. So just trial and error and seeing all right, what's the best way that we can help, our friends, because most of our friends are in the service industry and the restaurants, or they want to start their own business, but they don't know how to, what's the first step in starting your own business. Right. So we tell people, hey, 15 minutes, you can start a business.
Remarkable. So you are the darlings of every financial publication I picked up. Mm-hmm. So you started out really with this push about the same time that COVID got going, and you're able to just help people move from one traditional role that they had, I've got no job now because nothing's open, mm-hmm. into I'll create something, and here's your product that makes it all work.
Yeah, we try to get people to be a part of like the trickle-up economy. Okay. We try to say, here's the tools you can use. If you need additional tools, we built those tools for you. Whatever makes your business get to the next point. So if you've been running the same operation for 8 years, you might have to change that, with COVID or different operations, because people are really stubborn.
Yeah.
And getting people to use new technology, a lot of companies been using the same technology for 30 years and just don't change it. So try to make that push to get people to understand, use social media, use different outlooks, promote yourself, or even just, now that you have these tools, what can you do with these tools? Not what these tools can do for me. And so we try to approach that as well.
I've long been an advocate that in your darkest times, you find the best opportunities. You just have to be poised and ready and willing to make that move. And certainly you are assisting, well, obviously yourselves, but you are assisting so many other people in doing that very thing. And having the gumption to get up and move. During the pandemic, things are dire, mm-hmm. and this has given people a new lease on life and a new outlet. So when you and Ruben, first, are you a Milwaukee native?
I'm from Chicago originally.
Chicago, Illinois, just immediately south of us, a mere 90 miles. So how did you and Ruben hook up?
English 101 in college.
English 101.
Yeah, because he didn't really speak the language back then, so we just sat next to each other and they're like, introduce yourselves. Yeah. And we just happened to be sitting each other, and I was like, I'm a computer engineer, and he's like, I'm a computer engineer. We looked at each other like, all right, we're going to be friends. English 101. Yep.
Whole different language. That's beautiful. Yep. So that's been, 10 years now you guys been together, 8 years?
Yeah, about 10 years. Out of the past 10 years, I lived with them for 6.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're really close, yeah.
Wow.
That's family right there.
Yeah, I agree. And that's, it seemed like a martial arts concept. You guys really were one cell, one unit together, mm-hmm. and now you're just going everywhere. So I know it's hard to pin both you guys down. I'm happy you came in today. I think we have Ruben in next week. He's in California right now. Who can keep up?
Yeah, he's traveling everywhere, yeah. I think he just got back yesterday.
Yeah, nice. So are you guys in that acquisition mode with Microsoft yet, or not quite there?
No, we're probably going to go more towards, we just raised a seed round, mm-hmm. so now we're going into the Series A. Mm. So, just so that we can build a bigger team. There's a few engineers on the team, but we need more in-house tools.
Sure. So, for the benefit of our audience, what is? Tell us the process, if you don't mind.
The process for?
So you've got the product now, mm-hmm. and now you're going to your first round mm-hmm. Of getting finance and getting mm-hmm. some capital in here. So, what does that entail? So,
essentially, now that we have the MVP stage that's done, mm-hmm. we have the product, the software. Now we have to introduce it to people. So how do we say we have a product but nobody hears about it? So we have to figure out how to market it and sell it, because we just tell people there's no cost to you, use this. Mm-hmm. And that's a great selling point to anybody mm-hmm. who try to start their business. So we need to do a lot on the technical side, but also the non-technical side. So, you know, reaching different markets. There's 50 states here, so we're trying to get these 50 states. Then we're going to go international
Sure.
with the product. Just
So I've been kind of in the context. I'm sure you have a law firm that's guiding the process here, right? And they're the ones that have put together the offer for you, right? And of course, you're probably I'm going to guess you're mostly in the back of the house. You're the guy that's created this product. You do whatever else, and you're leaving the marketing. Not that you aren't competent with that, but you're leaving that to now a whole different level of proficiency of people that have the expertise in that, right? Okay. So your end game with this is to raise, or how much have you raised so far?
about $2 million, $2.1 million.
$2 million. Okay. That's and again in a pandemic economy. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it took us years to get that because this is me and Ruben's second company. So the first company we were trying to go door to door and ask, and it took us 5 years to raise around.
Wow.
And it takes people a lot longer than that.
Oh, yeah,
so we're really happy
you
with that.
persevered, man. I mean, you kept hitting this thing. You're a wonder child in so many ways of this thing. So, so the next step, you're looking for the $2 million, and what's your event horizon, or what's your time frame for that, or?
We have about a 12-month runway, 12 to 18-month runway, depending on what we want to do with it. Yeah, so we're just heavily investing in ourselves to make sure, you know, like we're creative and you know, we're getting the product out and, you know, making sure it's available to all platforms.
Sure.
So that you don't have to like go out and buy an iPad or like an Android tablet or something.
So is this like an IPO at this point?
No, we have a long way away from that.
Way past that.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
So at this point, how can people invest in your company? Are you looking for investors?
We're going to a Series A, so we are looking for investors for the next round. But for right now, we're just, you know, hyper focused on the product.
Right. Okay. Okay. So is that like 3 months away? You'd be looking for that investor to come in and plunk down some coin?
Yeah, about a month or two.
Month or two.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yep.
All right. So you're from Chicago. You're living in Milwaukee. Okay. Do you get back home often?
Yeah. I go back and forth. So yeah, I was up here last week, and half my family is split between Chicago and Milwaukee.
Okay.
So like all my sisters live there. Most of my family lives there.
Sure.
So yes, it's always good to like be down there and see family.
Absolutely.
But this is home, so I kind of get homesick every now and again.
Welcome
Yeah,
home.
to be back. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
How's that scotch?
Scotch is good.
Drink more. You talk more.
Yeah. No.
You grew up in Cabrini Green, right?
Yeah, Cabrini Green. Yeah.
Talk about that experience.
Yeah. So I grew up in Chicago in the projects. Cabrini Green, Robert Taylor Homes. So the reason why I moved to Milwaukee is because they tore the projects down.
Right.
Which, you know, everybody had to scatter. You had to go somewhere. So I came up here to live with my aunt.
So you're right off North Avenue then, I'm going to guess?
Yeah.
Kind of? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I came up here, did that, went to school up here, high school, middle school, college here. And, you know, moved back to Chicago to do the startup life again. So back where I started 5 years ago, but a little bit further.
It's very cool. That's very cool. Cabrini was notoriously one of the worst neighborhoods in the country.
It was fun as a kid. It was fun as a kid.
My bad.
As an adult, I'm like, oh, that was horrible. But you know, as a kid,
I love these success stories because you came from conditions that I'm sure people would have counted you out from inception just because the location that you grew up in. And Chicago is a phenomenal city, but it is a tough city as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and I'm also adopted too.
Oh,
so within the family,
geez.
so that was also another reason why a lot of stuff happened going back and forth between Chicago and Milwaukee.
Fantastic. Are you involved in Ruben's Immigrant Project at all?
I did the website for it.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so that's something we started a long time ago. Because you know, like just interviewing people who are immigrants, but at like a higher level, like executives of companies. Like, hey, what's your story? How did you start from somebody, you know, fresh off the boat, and then now you're the executive of a company? What's that success story looks like? And we love hearing that story. So we were trying to raise money a while ago for like a documentary, just to say like, all right, here's high-profile immigrants, and you know how can other younger immigrants come in and, you know, build off of that and get excitement and enjoyment from that story, and so that they can do it, because everybody needs like a role model.
Absolutely.
Everybody needs that kickstart.
Yep. Yep. Again, non-traditional. That's fantastic. So you guys had Sugar, right? And Sugar's still going. What's your place of that?
It's in the App Store. And people can still download it and find places to eat around them.
Sure.
So yeah, get milestones, get points, and you know, use the app for whatever you need.
Perfect. Where are you going next?
Where I'm going next. So as far as, you know, Cashdrop goes, there's a lot more improvement on the technical side, scaling up, growing. You know, looking for investors, hiring people, I got to start looking for more engineers at some point.
Sure.
You know, yeah, because I do like 90% of the technology.
Okay.
Is what I do. So I want to like start training other engineers and say like, here's tools that you didn't learn in school. You know, learn from me. Like spent like 5 years learning different tools in engineering processes and software development. Here's the tools that you can use and learn.
School is just a foundation for everything else, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I don't pretend for a moment to understand the technical aspect of what you do. Not for an instant. But you have created this thing literally out of nothing. And I can only think that you already are thinking about what is going to be the next thing for you after this is fully actualized and monetized and moving. What's the next that you want to get into?
I was thinking about like a foster home, probably at some point. Foster home, maybe a school. Get back to the community because my community did so much for me growing up, and then sometimes I'm just so busy with work I forget about that. So I took like 2 seminars on how to open a school, how to raise money for a school.
Nice.
Yeah, just do that because I feel like with my education, you know, I skipped the 5th and the 12th grade because I was like, yeah, I need to get out of here. I need to go to college ASAP. So there's a dip between people like, you know, like Galileo and Newton, the way that they were taught versus how we're taught, and they're critical thinkers. We're not so much. So how did they get to that point? You know, they created all the math we know with rulers and protractors and created all the math that we know back then. What's the difference between them and us? So I was like, open up a school to teach that. You know, you need to wait till you're 16 years old to learn geometry. Like or like do like 10 years of algebra. No, learn it once, just keep moving. So that's an idea that I had, a little side project, you know, to start working on.
Nice. Ever see yourself getting back into just pure education and just teaching someone?
I was thinking about teaching too, but I teach on the internet now. So like,
Sure.
yeah, so like with software, when you build software, you use other people's code, right?
Okay.
That exists. And let's say there's a bug or an error in it, you can personally fix it. And once you fix it, the world has it, the community has it. So I've been working on open source projects for a while.
Okay.
I worked on like Easy Ship, which is a way to ship products back and forth to UPS, Amazon. They didn't have an API that you can use, so I built them an API on my free time. So I'm like, I use this, but the API is not to my standards. So I just built them one, or like Uber Kit and Instagram Kit and web scrapers. And my favorite open source project is a project called Parse. So Parse was a company, let's say you know nothing about tech, you want to make an iPhone app. So you pay Parse like $30 a month and they give you a database and a server somewhere. $30, you don't have to know anything about servers and databases. You just, 3 lines of code, you can save data and pull
Plug
data.
it in?
Facebook bought it, and then Facebook shut it down, and then they were going to steal all the engineers or their plans for that. But they was like, instead of shutting it down and 500,000 users, programmers are using this, let's open source it. So now that they open sourced it, now people like me can just come, it's like, hey, I want this feature, I want this idea, I want this to do something for me.
Yeah.
And I've been the lead project on that for like 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, 500,000 users use code that I write every day, which is pretty awesome, and nobody knows it.
That is
That's what I do on my
awesome.
free time. Yeah.
Let's back up a little bit. So your name, Diamond.
Yeah.
Cool name. Tell us about that.
Long story about. So, I have a cousin. So my mom and her cousin were like pregnant at the same time, and whoever was born first get the name Diamond. So I was born like a week earlier, so then I got the name Diamond. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you certainly are shining, brother. So it's that's cool.
Yeah.
Good for you. Favorite food?
Favorite food? Bacon wrapped shrimp, probably. Yeah, I'm really big into pasta. So you throw any fettuccine, linguine, whatever noodles you throw in front of me, spaghetti, I'll eat that. So
Cool.
Italian food all day.
All right. You cook?
I haven't cooked in like a month. Actually,
When you do cook,
that's horrible.
aside from opening something fast at home, because I'm sure your time is.
I did eat
pressed.
Italian sausages last night, so
There
that's
you go.
yeah. So I did. I told my little brother come over and cook.
Yeah.
I was like,
Okay.
I was
So
like, yeah.
favorite restaurant in the world?
Carson's.
Carson's.
Yeah.
Okay. Steak guy.
Yeah,
Okay. Just so happens that you live above the Carsons.
I used to.
You used to,
Yeah, I
okay.
used to. I was there 3 times a week for like 4 years.
Cool.
No, I just sat there and worked all day. I
Yeah.
didn't eat. just had to work. Yeah.
So when you have a chance not to be working, your favorite city or favorite place to go to?
My favorite place to go to, I like New York, New Jersey. You had the opportunity to go there one
Pre-COVID.
time. Yeah, pre-COVID, yeah. I accidentally caught the train and I was going to Manhattan, but I went to Queens. And I looked at like, oh, this is not Manhattan. Their subway system is horrible. I had to like go up and down somewhere. And I made it to where I needed to go. Like, oh, I have no phone reception. I was just lost. Had to ask some dude. He was like, some dude got on the train. He was singing. I was like, hey, which way do I get to Manhattan?
Yeah, Lost in America. Brilliant.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
So when you have free time to get away, I mean, are you a beach guy? Are you a ski guy?
I love water.
Water. Okay.
Yeah. That's why I live in the Midwest. We have the best water right here.
Big water. Sure.
The best water in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to Florida and Texas, tasted the water. I was like, oh no. That's why I love it here. I'll always live near water.
There you go.
Yep.
So are you then a seafood eater as well as steaks?
Oh yeah, seafood. Yep.
Okay.
I told you bacon wrapped shrimp.
Yeah, well,
shrimp,
shrimp,
lobster,
okay.
mussels.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Patrick?
Why don't you talk a little bit about how you got into coding? What sparked your interest into coding?
What sparked your interest in coding? Well, there's a question.
So I've always been into computers
Mm-hmm.
and video games as a kid, and we couldn't afford computers, so I was always
Sure.
like get them donated to me. Like, hey, you can just write to Microsoft a grant, and then they'll just give you a computer, like an
Sure.
old beige one. Back then, it had like dial-up speeds. So I've always had computers. I never thought of programming until I read an article about a kid who traded an iPhone for a car and 3 iPhones. So I was like, oh man, some 17-year-old kid from New Jersey. And you can jailbreak iPhones, add anything, custom stuff. So that's what happened to the very first jailbroken iPhone. It was traded for a car.
Okay.
And I was like, how did this 17-year-old kid from New Jersey, how did he do that? And I was like, I want to learn how to do that. Like that just blew my mind. Like you can be a hacker at that age and get a car. Like this, first off, this was back in 06 when iPhones were like $900 for like the very first. And I'm like, I don't have $900.
Yep.
I got a job when I was like 14, but I was like saving up to like pay rent or something. Like so, I
Yep.
was like, gee. So that was really inspirational to me. And then I was like, at that point, I was like, all right, I want to be not a hacker. I want to be a programmer. I want to figure out how that kid, made this device do what not what this device can do for me, what I can get this to do.
Yep.
And I love that mindset. What can I get this to do? It's on AT&T. I want T-Mobile. Boom, we put T-Mobile on it. It took him 500 hours of soldering. And I was like, I know how he did it now at this point. But yeah, that was interesting. So once I figured out that, I went to the library, got a programming book. I gave up. I was like, yeah, this is too hard. I just read it. It was like Visual Basic, which is like 20 years old. So I tried to read that. I couldn't write "Hello World" on the screen. It was just horrible. So after that, I was a volunteer. I was a volunteer for like 4 years for like a CLC after school program, and then they had a career day. And one of the people came to the career day, like there was doctors and ex-NFL champions. And one of the people that came there was Professor John Boylan from UWM.
Okay.
And this guy, he's solid. He's like, he's to us, he's like a god of programming, right? So he came in there to speak, and then he was literally sitting down with me, teaching me like, hey, no, I basically built the computer science program at UWM. Are you interested in this? Here's how you do binary, teaching me binary on paper, and how to do computational math on paper. And like this guy is teaching me, and I was like 16 at the time, 15, 16 at the time. I was like, all right, I graduate in 2 months. I think I'm gonna try this program out. So I was lucky enough to meet him early on, and then that really like, hey, let's go into computer science. And then, like I said, the guy hacked this phone. It wasn't a software hack; it was a hardware hack.
Okay.
So instead of going to computer science, I went into computer engineering, which
Okay.
is half computer science, half electrical engineering.
Sure.
And then once I got in through that door, I didn't realize that in computer science there's 20 fields. In electrical engineering there's 20 fields. How do I learn all of it? I want to be a jack of all trades, a master of none. So how do I learn these 40 different fields? So freshman year I was a web developer. I was making websites for all the nonprofits in Milwaukee. So that's how I started out programming. Walked into the interview. I mean, I'm like 3 months into school, I haven't learned anything yet, and I just walked in and like, yeah, I kind of know this. I read a book like an hour ago, just wrote some code for him, and he's like, all right, you can start. And I did that for 1.5 years. Then I worked at SC Johnson as a sales engineer, which is, it's not something engineers do because they said, yeah, whatever, but I was a sales engineer for their team doing server migration. Then I was an electrical engineer at Pentair in Brookfield. I got my butt kicked in that for like 1.5 years. I was doing computer science. I haven't touched electrical engineering yet. So I applied for a computer science internship, and they gave me an electrical engineering co-op. And a co-op is basically, you're full-time and then you go to school full time, and you're full time. So it was a choice of whether I want to take a year and a half off of school to work as an electrical engineer, and I said, yeah, let's do it. So it took me 5 years to graduate college instead of 3.5, but that was a learning experience. And then during that time, I was what did I do? I was a undergraduate researcher, so I was researching hearing aids and cochlear implants. Because for some reason I have like 5 deaf aunts, so I know sign language too, a little bit. So I was doing research. I had called this professor up and I was like, do you have funding? Can I work with you? He's like, I don't have funding, go find it. Went down to the nearest office, like, hey, can I get $4 grand? They were like, yeah, all right. And then told him, so I just started working and researching hearing aids on how to make that more efficient and better and faster and cheaper. Because hearing aids are expensive, and try to get that process down. Researched heart pacemakers and defibrillators, researched power electronics for a while.
So biomedical as well? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was originally, if I didn't do like the startup life, I probably would have went into biomedical or go to grad school for biomedical or pure electrical. There's a lot of choices back in the day. So then after that, then I have a lot of friends who wanted to start their own companies, but they don't have a technical background or they don't know how to start. So I was helping most of my friends start their first company here in Milwaukee. And I probably did like 6 different startups while I was doing sugar. So I was like I said, like I want to learn all these fields. How do I learn all these fields if I'm just stuck in a cubicle learning one thing? No, I need to like expand. So what's your business? So you do aviation? Let's do aviation. What's your business? Banking? Let's do banking, fintech, finance, whatever you do. And I just did that for like 4 years, just freelancing, just learning as much as I can about technology and critical thinking, how to use what I know to make things better, cheaper, and faster. Like anything you do, you can automate through code, and I love that.
Dude, obviously you are at the pinnacle. You are at the top up here, but this also says to me that there are some significant problems with education today because you're mired down in this one thought process, and not the integration of those things. Would that be correct?
Yeah, like something as simple as the human body is made of cells, right? One cell turned into 2. Some guy took that, was like, my computer has 1 core, why not 2? Something as simple as that, using one field and taking that and applying it to another field. And that's where we are now with these fast phones and computers, because people are thinking outside of the box and bringing that other knowledge into the new field that they're doing. I was just doing a presentation with this professor at UFC, University of Chicago, and he gave me a presentation on newer technology that he's doing, because I used to be a researcher, and I was like, what is the field doing? Because I only know what I know, so I'm just trying to research to see what is out there, because these researchers, they're from like MIT and Stanford and Oxford, and they're doing critical research. Like, how does that work? How would I do it? Not even, I don't want to hear how you did it. How would I do it if I were to take that approach? And he's like, yeah, that's how I started. But then we took that idea and we just grew it on how to like save energy in like cable boxes, because cable boxes use a lot of energy. So I'm like, oh man, that's genius. You can use that in aviation, in different fields, and then the balls start getting rolling. Because with technology, you can be a coder, and it'll take you like maybe a week and you can learn how to write a website from scratch, pure scratch, no Wix, no Scratch, but you can become a coder in like a week. Just following you, if 13-year-olds can do it, you can do it. Just following YouTube videos and tutorials, anybody can do it. But you miss that aspect because it's so easy to code now. Because people have been doing it for like 30, 40 years now. So there's tools to help you get started quick. And you lose how to make things efficient, how you make things faster. Because at the end of the day, this phone from scratch is just components and parts. And then around that there's tech, and then around that there's more tech, and then there's tech, and then tech. But people forget you got to start at the bottom. Make the bottom at the base level, make that the foundation better, and then build upon that instead of starting up top where all the foundation is given to you. Right. Just start at the bottom, and people forget that.
So I'm gonna guess it doesn't matter to you if it's an iPhone or it's an Android. It doesn't matter, right?
Nowadays
the same.
Nowadays you can write one app that deploys to both.
Okay.
And my Mac and my Windows PC, and an IoT device. You can write one code base and deploy it now. It's that easy.
Wow.
You don't even need so for our app Cashdrop, it's purely for iPhone.
Okay.
With like iOS code.
Okay.
That's we wrote it in. We could have just written it and then had an Android app by now.
Sure.
But we need to get to the foundational base to make sure that this app is smooth, it runs good, and things like that. Like,
so why Apple then?
I My friend Ruben loves Apple. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I can make an Android app. Yeah, no problem.
Sure.
But yeah, so we just love iPhones. This how I told you. This how I got into the business. iPhone, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell about that story with the autonomous car.
So I told you that kid who traded an iPhone for a car. That same kid, he wanted to become like, he's an iPhone hacker, one of the greatest hackers of all time. But he wanted to be a neurosurgeon. Like, I want to hack the brain. Like, this is critical thinking right here, people. So instead of doing that, he was like, you know what? I have a car. I want it to drive itself. How do I do that? I don't want to buy a Tesla. I just want to make this car drive. What in this system how do I connect to the computer in this system and hack that? So he created this little dongle. You know, you get like an emissions test.
Right.
So he has his own dongle you plug in, and it turns your car into a self-driving car. You just buy it, plug it in, boom, you got a self-driving car if it's power steering.
Wild.
Yeah.
So that has to integrate with the computer system. I would guess that it's not for any car, by the way. It's got
It's power steering. So any power steering car, I think it works
Really?
for that. Yeah, any power steering car, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Genius. That's like, that's my role model right there. I love that kid. George Hotz. Look him up, yep.
Very cool. So what about implants? What about people having neural implants taking place at some point? Is that a reality?
I hope so.
Okay.
I wish I could get microchipped so I can hack that. I don't know, what we do? Critical forward thinking here. What can I get this to do? You know, I love thinking about that.
So in your mind, there's really no limit to what we as people can do if we apply ourselves.
Yep,
Okay.
no limit.
Are we concerned about artificial intelligence taking over at some point?
I'm not.
Okay.
I hope it takes over, make life easier.
There's a lot of people. We have too many people, though, don't we?
Yeah, it was a few more.
Of course, COVID's going to take care of some of that, right?
Yeah. Talking about depopulation for decades now. So yeah, Snowden. I mean, whistleblowers get a bad rap, you know, but there's a lot of things out there that, you know, we're not supposed to know. But I mean, with that, you know, I like that he did it. You know, he gave up some information. Now he's on the run, living in Russia. You know, he did that. But it is a national security issue,
Yep.
you know, for that. But now we know that, hey, they're tapping our phones. Well, I think they were doing that I think we already knew that.
Right.
That's what we said, like, hey, don't get that government phone. You know, we've been saying that joke for years, but now like, oh, it's true. And then there's other programs involved in that. So, yeah, good to know. We don't really care.
So do you get to interact with the NSA at all?
NSA?
They ever knock on your door?
Nope.
The bureau's never knocked on your door?
No, why?
Oh,
I don't do anything.
Obviously, you're thinking so far out of the box.
There's not
you know?
enough evidence. Yeah. They probably offer me a job or something.
I would think
Probably,
yes.
I'll take that.
I would think yes.
What's your thoughts on Snowden, Bob?
I think he's actually done a great service for humanity, not just for America. But I think he's exposed a lot of the flaws. And yes, there are some things that people don't have a need to know, quite frankly. But I do think that, you know, there's probably 50, 60, 70% of the material that's out there that we're deprived from knowing about that really we should know about. Some things, every government has its secrets. Everybody has their own ways of doing things, and that can stay there.
Yeah.
But there's an awful lot of knowledge that should be shared, and it would make us a better people, I think.
Yeah, but you got to determine what should be shared, and then that's the key point right there. Yeah, I don't know what needs to be shared. That's what they hide it from us. They're like, you can't handle the truth. Like, all right, then I mean, you can't do anything about it unless I get bored one day. I'm like, hey, let me go get that information.
Well, a lot of people don't have either the capacity to research things, they don't have the time to research things,
No
or
time.
the inclination, maybe a combination there.
No time.
But there is an awful lot of material that really should be coming our way that has not been. And I think especially the last 30, 40 years, we have been more insular about a lot of things that, you know, those little gems, those little germs of knowledge that could come out that could really just inspire someone that could kick something else forward. I think we should know that.
Yeah. Hey, we might get a new idea about something. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. More information, the better.
Yeah, I think it's
Very
very
well.
very myopic to think that everything that needs to be known is already known, that experts have solved everything, because it's a big universe, and there's so much out there that we know a really, really tiny little bit. And that's not me that knows that, maybe you, but really bright people know such a small amount of what there is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about the other day. My friend was like, all right, so what's the end goal for like humanity? Like, what are we doing here? So we're trying to like extend lives? Like, we're trying to like cure all diseases? Like, what's the goal that we're doing
All
instead
right,
of
so what did you
politics?
come up with on that?
Huh?
What's your answer?
I mean, there are certain things that you can't do for ethical issues or ethical reasons. But I think just, surviving on this planet, basically.
That by itself is the end game?
We're already at the
That's not much of an end game, is it?
We're already at the top.
there.
We're already at the top of the food chain, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the next step?
Right.
So maybe the leaders need to think of this, or do
Well, are we at the
something.
top of that chain, or are the viruses at the top of the chain? Because they're decimating us.
Well, man, we'll get rid of that in like 3 months. That's over. Yeah. They already got an antiviral medication, which is funny because the antiviral medication was like the first antiviral medication for like Ebola and hepatitis.
Right.
So like, oh yeah, just use that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it stops the virus from spreading. Get healed in like 3 days. So I heard there's already a vaccine for it. So yeah.
So when the vaccine is out, you going to take it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I look at that as like, I look at video games, like the Xbox and the PS1 just came in, like, let them test try that first, let them knock all the bugs and kinks out, then I'll take it. But I'll do it for science. Like, you want it? You want to get it first enlist? Then I'll do it. I'll do anything for science. Almost anything for science. Yeah, I used to be a scientist, man. Love it, dude.
What's your thoughts on Moore's Law?
I thought it was going to stop a few years ago, but it's still going. It still works. I think the like a transistor is about it's like 20 nanometers or something like that. It was 40 last year, now it's 20. If it gets down to 10, I think it was a great prediction. I don't know if it's going to stop at this point.
It's getting too good.
It's too accurate. That guy when did Moore make that law?
A while ago.
George Moore? Yeah.
Let's tell us what Moore's Law is.
So it's the law that the size of a transistor would be reduced by double every year. So in a chip, there's so much you can fit on the board. So the smaller the components are, the more you can fit on the board, the more you get in, and which is cheaper cost, cheaper labor to get that. So it's getting smaller and smaller.
What can the average person do on a day-to-day basis to improve their life, their lot in life?
Health over wealth, first off.
Mm-hmm.
So, make sure you're healthy first, and then after that, then pursue knowledge. I think just get as much as you can. I wish when I was a kid, I read articles. Mm-hmm. All I had was news and Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. As a kid, that's all I had. So nowadays, I'm reading articles constantly and consistently. I didn't have that in like high school.
So you're not a traditional kid.
Nah. Wait, kids are reading articles nowadays? Nowadays, I mean, there's so much information now.
Kids barely read today.
Yeah,
Terrible.
people used to read in the 90s.
Yes.
Read books. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think in many ways, we as a society, at least in America, have really dummied things down, and I think we continue to dummy things down. So rather than accelerating things and pushing people to learn more and to explore more and to think more, we're doing the opposite, and we're bringing it down to the least common denominator so we can all kind of get by. But getting by is not, I think, what our imperative is. I don't know what the answer is, but I don't think it's just getting by on the skin of this rock.
I think it's just reminding people, hey, you can learn anything you want to learn.
Yeah.
Right now.
So what about space exploration? What do you think?
I love it.
Okay.
That's the best money I've ever seen spent.
Where should we go next?
Where should we go next? Wherever we can. Explore as much as we can.
Because we spend most of our time looking at Mars,
Yeah.
right, as the next county, or stop for us perhaps. But yet
The U.S. of Mars. That sounds good.
there's so much that takes place on Venus as well, and they have discovered more life in the clouds of Venus. It's not life as we necessarily know life, but I think that's one of the things here is that life continues on in so many different forms that we, especially as Americans, are very myopic and arrogant, and we can't understand that. If it's not like us, we can't be. We can't be. Right?
We're extremely lucky.
We are.
The perfect distance from the sun, out of all the stars, that's a luck.
Cinderella. So are there other planets like ours somewhere out there?
I believe it.
Okay. Other species of the same intellectual basis? Be careful with that intellectual basis that we have.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I was thinking, let's say, the first human being to ever live. How did they survive? If I was a baby on my own, I couldn't do that. So
Right.
There's a lot of history that's a mystery.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really interesting when you think about it like that. Yeah. We're getting there. We'll be there. We'll be on Mars soon.
And then?
That's the end goal. Just have a glass of wine with Elon Musk on Mars.
Sure. Who doesn't want that? So Europa, Ganymede, Io, something like that. Io, you're going to move forward?
Move forward? With what?
I mean, how soon before you break beyond the solar system?
It's a cold journey. I hope we do it. Like I said, anything is possible with enough math. We can figure something out. Somebody will figure it out.
Could be you.
I wish I had that time. One day, yeah. I mean, if I switch gears and focus on something, it'll probably be like the medical field. Probably go back into that. Kind of miss that. I haven't done any hardware work in a long time, so definitely like to get back in that.
Brilliant.
Or be a lawyer. I was watching Suits. I was like, oh, being a lawyer sounds fun. Marquette's right there. You don't have to pass the bar. I'd do that. Yeah. You like
Obviously, you're in the tech space, but what do you think the next social media unicorn will be?
the next social media unicorn? I mean, they're just popping up everywhere now. OnlyFans is coming out, which is that was a trip. That's a joke. I don't know, because people were scared to get into social media for a long time, because like Facebook's out there, and then now you got your Instagram. So
Sure.
Somebody just needs to critical think outside of the box. Like, I'm going to do it, and they just create their own social media platform. But that's kind of it's a scary market to get into. But somebody's going to do it. Somebody's going to see the bridge. Like, hey, we can make communication easier between people, make it faster. Make video sharing, more effective, interactive. I mean, it's COVID, so people need to socialize anyway. So it's a perfect time for somebody to come in and step in and hit that market and say like, hey, let's be social.
What about social engineering? You think that we should have caps on what someone can make in their profession, like a Zuckerberg or something?
Nah.
We'll just let it go wide open.
I was just walking a dog today, and I was looking at this leash. I was like, whoever invented this, I'm glad they're a millionaire. And I'm just walking the dog like, this is so cool. Best $20 I ever spent. If you have an idea and you become a millionaire off an idea, I'm happy for you. If you get $1 billion off of an idea, I'm super happy for you. I don't think there should be no cap. Because if they win, you win. The economy wins. So I don't think there should be a cap.
So technology has to flourish, obviously, for us to get beyond where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, it's at a great point. I can order something today and get it on Monday.
If not even today.
Not even I can get it today. Yeah, fair enough. You can get it today.
Yep.
Yeah, which is great. That's the best part about technology is just making things faster and better and cheaper.
Sure.
Even something as simple as like the new iPhone, won't come with headphones. Hey, we know save on packaging costs, saving so things like that. Something as simple as that. It took them 10 years to figure that out, but it's interesting.
So do you see yourself as being a futurist?
I think about it from time to time. I do think about the future and the possibilities that are out there, because at some point I'm going to pivot. I know Cashdrop is great, but 10 years down the line, I probably want to look into other avenues and markets 10 years down the line, because I'll be hitting like 37, hitting 40. I'm like, might as well help the community around me. Do or make other software platforms that are widely used and spread. Yeah. So yeah, futurist. Yeah.
Cool.
Did you think Amazon was going to be what it was today?
Amazon? Today, people think it's still a bookstore in the Amazon rainforest. Yeah, so hey, Jeff Bezos, man, shout out to dude. I love him. Yeah. They're paying $19.50 an hour now, overnight shift. Go apply if y'all need a job right now. Yeah, go to Amazon. Yeah, $19.50 that's a lot of chicken.
That sure is.
Yeah.
That sure is.
Yeah.
Cool. Patrick?
I think it's interesting though, like how back in 1994, AOL, the CDs, the dial-up, that was a rage for a couple years.
Now we've come a long way.
Almost overnight. I mean, like, think about the time before the iPhone, the Palm Treos, the Blackberries, and that was the cutting edge. That was the most expensive thing, but it nearly wiped out companies like Motorola and these other communication firms because they didn't adapt.
Remember when I told you like anybody nowadays is so easy to write code now? That happened about 5 years ago. That somebody was like, here's a platform that's easy, and then every developer just started building it. And then building it and building it. So like I said, you can build one platform and then have an iPhone and an Android app. And that didn't come from nowhere, just people just start collaborating and communicating and sharing ideas. Like, I work with like 100 developers worldwide, and I've never talked to a single one of them. I got a friend in Russia, a guy in Brazil, a guy in Canada, a guy in San Francisco, and I just work with them every day, just writing code, reviewing code, teaching people how to code. And I've never met a single one of them. I called one of them like, you have a British accent? I didn't know that. I called another like, you're 65 years old? Like your profile picture looks like 25. Like, nah, man, I've been doing this a long time. So I meet a lot of people on the internet, and it's just so fun and enjoyable. You know, doing what I do is great. Just writing code all day and sharing code with people and using people's code and learning from some of the smartest people in the world.
You have a remarkable life, Diamond, and you're doing some really cool things with it. So it's that's nice. That's
The key word is good
nice.
things. I'm doing good things with it.
Well, you are. I mean, there's so many people that that just wallow in how they can't do anything. They can't find the impetus to move forward. But I think, clearly you at a young age really embraced that and just kept running.
The secret is boredom. I hate being bored. I got to move. I got to do something. That's why I like 4 years of college. I had like 10 jobs. Just working, moving around, doing things, tutoring, teaching. Electrical engineering, software engineering, just doing like 10 different jobs, just anything, just to, get involved.
But I think you are born with a gift of intelligence and being able to absorb and interpret. Because most of the kids around your age are still not thinking about what you're thinking about now.
In critical thinking, with schooling, the best thing is you can teach yourself. Like I said, you can. The reason why we have tests is because it's an iterative process. But I got to the point, right, where I was like doing math equations, like math problems at the back of the, you flip to the end of the chapter, there's equations, and then I can see why did they write this equation or this problem after the first problem. 1, 2, 3, why did they write it in that structure? And you look, it's in that structure because that's the way the chapter is structured. And people didn't realize that. I'm like, so I'm just looking at the chapter and then first question. And I know that this next question is going to be on the next section. So boom. So I'm thinking how they thought when they wrote the book. At that point. So that forward and critical thinking, like, I can write this book. If you know how to write it, I can write it. Things like that.
Kids do not think that way.
I mean, and math is really awesome. I love math. I should have been a mathematician. Oh, that would have been awesome. Yeah, just problem solving, connecting dots and clues. Oh, yeah. Because think about it, like my field of computer engineering, 30 years ago, the first computer scientists were just physicists and mathematicians. And then they created my field, just like, hey, we need some grunts to do this. We need people to explore this field. So that was interesting. I was talking to my buddy the other day. He's a computer engineer, which is great because when I graduated college, my degree wasn't accredited, meaning my degree technically didn't count.
Right.
Until that day that I graduated, like, now we're going to accredit it. Like, you could tell me that 5 years ago when I started. Like, I was just pursuing a degree that's not accredited. It wasn't going to be worth it. Like, now it is. And then they asked me, do you feel like a computer engineer? And I was like, I feel like a computer scientist and electrical engineer. I don't feel like a computer engineer. I didn't feel like a computer engineer until about 2 weeks ago. When I was talking to this older gentleman, computer engineer, and he was like, yeah, back in the day we were forward thinkers thinking. We're all physicists and mathematicians before we were engineers. And nowadays people don't think about efficiency and speed and getting the job done as quick as possible with the least amount of code. And I was like, now I feel like a computer engineer now. Because I used to do that when I was an electrical engineer. I was like, how do I get this board smaller and cheaper? You're paying $75 for this like touchscreen display? I can get that down to $35. And we sell $500,000 of that. How much money you're making? So that forward process, like, so nowadays, now I'm thinking at things differently now. After one conversation, now I'm thinking differently. Like, how do I make this faster, better, cheaper? Or better yet, automate it. Anything you do manually, you can probably automate that. Like, what is it? Hacktoberfest. We call it, in my community, we call it Hacktoberfest. So you contribute 4 code commits to an open source project, they give you a t-shirt, right? It's been going on for like 5 years now. And this kid was like, I'm tired of going to McDonald's and the McFlurry machine is broken. So he wrote an app that scraped McDonald's websites and it generated a map to show you where the McFlurry machines are broken. So you can go to his website right now, and you can figure out where the McFlurry machines for McDonald's is just some 26-year-old kid. It's like, I want to know when the McFlurry machines are down. I'm tired of walking to McDonald's and they're down.
Wow.
And he just made an app like that. And then he started learning, like, I have too much traffic now. How do I scale up my servers? And then I'm paying $7 a month, now I'm paying $50 and all this stuff. And they're getting donations and stuff. So something simple as that, just like getting information anywhere in the world, which is great. Any information you want that's public, you can get. Just sitting here, I can pull out my laptop, we get some information from, what do you want to know? The geolocation of all the zip codes, what do you want to know? Like, we can get that data, which is great.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Did you see the Social Dilemma?
What's Social Dilemma?
It was a movie, a Netflix documentary about just the negative impact, mental health, and everything of social media, from Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook.
I mean, people can do a lot more with their time, but I'm a victim too. I'm almost a millennial, but this is my wife right here. This is life right here, dude. Yeah, so oh man, I love that.
Social media is censored?
No, I love free information. Nothing should be censored. Not even curse words.
Well, that gets back to Snowden, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, what's the balance of like? Is it like journalism? Is it technically considered something that you have to have everything verified, check upon? Because it's basically social media is op-ed. It's all opinions.
I feel like people should do their own research.
Yeah, but you can't.
But yeah.
Off of other social media, off of other fake news, off of other fake sites.
I believe everybody should have like 5 websites. They wake up in the morning, they go to these 5 websites, get their information for the day, and then, move on.
What do you recommend?
I mean, I look at Engadget, Polygon. I look for like tech news. Since I'm doing a startup company, I'm slowly looking into like that side, that aspect. Like I don't know the name of a bunch of like the VC firms in the nation. I don't know who the top 5 are. But I'm slowly looking into that. My buddy's like 18 and he knows all that. Oh, there's a venture capitalist right down the street. Like, how do you know this? You're 18. Like I read articles. Like, I wish I would have did that when I was year 18, dude. And I got him on my team too because I love this kid. This kid, like he knows. He just researches, and he's like 20. But yeah, get the guy on my team.
The scientific community doesn't know geographic boundaries. It doesn't know countries. It doesn't know any of that. It's right because you're working in science. You're working for technology. You're advancing a cause, an overall cause. But if you had to look at what countries are advancing the most, what would that be?
The companies who are advancing the most, the countries. Mm-hmm. The countries that are focused on math and science, those are the ones I think. So you have your China, your Japan's, and people who focus on technology. Mm-hmm. If I had it my way, 70% of the country would be like engineers. If I had it my way, like we're all finna go towards the end. Like, what's the next step in humanity? Let's all be forward thinkers and engineers and do that. But you can't do that. Like
right.
we need everybody to be diverse and spread out. But yeah, if I had it my way, everybody would be like. You'd be an engineer first, and then after like 18 years of being an engineer, you'd be like, all right, now what do I want to do? And then figure that out. So yeah, I would change it. I would do it totally differently. 70% all engineers, or mathematicians, or scientists, or physicists.
Interest in politics?
Politics? Oh, it's a fun game. I like that. It's like chess to me. Mm-hmm. Like if I was in that position, would I make that move? Mm-hmm. And then I think about it that way. Like, oh, would I did it differently or not? And then,
would you be interested in getting in that position?
In politics? Not really. I love technology too much.
Okay.
I like writing code. I couldn't write code as like a politician. I'd probably get mad and just like screw up the votes or something. I'll hack that.
I think it's happening all by itself, but.
Did you see the Joe Rogan podcast with Andrew Yang on it?
Well, who on it?
Andrew Yang, who's the president.
Yeah, Andrew. I love that guy.
So,
that guy is awesome.
Remember how he was talking about the technology, AI, and everything else, and how truckers be out of jobs? Since you're on the technology side of it, how do you help those people that were never going to be programmers and engineers?
Like I said, like not everybody could be, but it would be good to like teach them. Like I didn't have a computer science class in my high school. The closest thing I had was like.
What do you teach a 55-year-old trucker?
55-year-old. I'm not saying like teach that early on. Like
right,
start with the
like
base.
now.
Now.
Where it's headed.
First, you got to teach them how to type and turn it on first, and then we go from there. Like, yeah, teach them how to type like 70 words a minute, use the internet. First, teach them how to gather information. Because like, as a programmer, nowadays you can just research a block of code that you need. How do I make a table on a screen? You could research that. And
but what about people who can't change their thinking and can't move forward?
So the digital divide. That's the first thing we have to solve. People who don't have access to the internet. That's the one of the big issues. We got to figure that out first, and get everybody a cell phone. Get a cell phone so that they communicate and do research, so they can think for themselves and research for themselves, and then we build on that. So you need a base. You need to start. I can't just say like, hey, here's a MacBook, 17-inch. It's like $4,000 here, and like start writing code. Here's a terminal window. Like, no, we have to like start.
But I think if you start teaching kindergartners, first graders, second graders to code, they're going to be so fast on the point about that because they can pick up an iPad, go through YouTube and all that.
And there are apps for writing code right now on iPads. I got my niece and nephews using them. Because code is basically 1-0, if this, then that. Mm-hmm. If, then. So it's like, if
logic.
This happens, this happens. It's logic.
Yeah.
And everybody has logic. So everybody should be able to do and pursue that. It's building on what you already know. and then go from there.
Cool.
It is. That's why I got involved in it. It's so cool.
So what's your main passion? All the stuff you've done.
My main passion,
Coding in general.
like I said, like
Pursuit of knowledge, technology, advancing the cause. That seems pretty much what she's
instead
all
of
about.
software, I think I like hardware more. Because if you look in college, like my electrical engineering classes, I got straight A's. My computer science course is all C's, but I'm doing computer science, which is great. Yeah, so it was interesting. So I'm like trying to go back into hardware. So like I don't even know. Is
More
this?
Iron Man, Tony Stark.
Oh yeah, yeah. My back hurts. Let me make a brace that automatically self-corrects this. Dude, I'm a programmer. I've been doing this for like 10 years now. So I got like carpal tunnel. I got bad hearing because I listen to dubstep all day, and then like my kneecaps hurt from time to time. Like, oh, I got the body of a 50-year-old, but I can make like an exoskeleton and correct all that for me.
You know, the interesting what you just said is inventing a new way of typing, and you don't get carpal. Maybe it's different.
Yeah, they got ergonomic keyboards and direct typing, but yeah, no, I'm just doing this all day.
Type with your mind, for God's sakes. How far away is that?
Stephen Hawking can do it. I can do it.
Sure. There you go.
Yeah, neuro implants. Oh, I can't wait till they do that. I'm gonna hack that so bad. That's why I say, like, what's my passion? Hardware. Like I'm talking about microchip hacking and implant hacking, just hardware.
So with your startup right now, what's the best benefit to the restaurants, bars, service industry? What do you think you're selling for this?
It's easy to use, convenient, it's free, best for the user, best for the consumer. It's changing the way people are running their business. So there are businesses now who are doing Instagram posts. Now people say, oh, now I see you. I want that. Even a picture. Like people who've never used social media, they put a picture up of like a nice taco. I'm like, I want that. Like. Yeah.
Well, the capitalist me has to ask, though, if you're not, how do you monetize this? Because if you're not charging the end user, if you're not charging the
we don't charge the merchants.
Okay.
We charge the consumer. Like
Okay.
they pay the taxes and they pay all this, so we
Okay.
just add that fee on top of that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that the business isn't burdened on that, because as most restaurants or bar industry, like their margins is very small, and so we try to like mitigate that as much as possible.
Yep.
Add new features and integrations and get
Sure.
feedback on that. Like, what would you change about your business? All right, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I say the fourth thing, because people, if I were to run a business, my business would be like pure like IoT device. There'd be like a Bluetooth beacon in the front that notifies me every time somebody comes in and keeps track of their data. And, oh, it'd be great. A whole virtual bar. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, just forward thinking, just thinking about different things. That's why like most of my friends would just spitball. Just what have you been thinking about? What can you automate
How is it
in your
different
life?
than Venmo or PayPal?
Oh, that's transferring money. We're just buying and purchasing and selling things on a platform.
So you're more like WePay.
With a track, and then you get reports.
China's doing that heavily.
Yeah, China's different.
Yeah, China is different.
But then there's the talk of people how they feel uncomfortable about, they have all this data, they got all this information.
I want to go there one day and just talk to their engineers or something. Just like see like how they're thinking. Like what is their thought process? What's their education compared to us? I don't know what their education is. I wish I knew what their education was.
Right.
I don't know what they teach. Like right now, like if you gave me a kid, how would I teach them? Like, do I do like the building blocks? Like you have 2 blocks plus 3 blocks, that's 5 blocks. Stacking. Like, I don't know how's that's changed. Like, kids are in like, virtual like classrooms now. I don't even know what they're teaching kids nowadays. I haven't even looked into it.
Are you familiar with Shenzhen?
Shenzhen? Who is that?
It's a city. It's basically the hardware capital of the world. Silicon Valley.
Oh, Shenzhen, yeah.
in China.
Yeah.
Basically, what you can get a prototype in 3 weeks in San Francisco, you can get it in a day because they got all the hardware products and everything there, so you can build it. I just feel like that's a place that you really enjoy.
I'll go Scrooge McDuck into some circuit boards. Just go right in there. That sounds like awesome fun, dude. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are smarter than me, and I want to meet those people and talk to them and interact with them and have a conversation. A lot of these people don't have conversations, and that's why I like this podcast. We're having the conversation. It's been a while since I had a conversation. I've been jam-packed in my apartment writing code for a couple of months now, so they're finally getting out. Yeah, so it's fun, dude. Yeah.
What needs improving in your What do you think needs improvement on your app right now?
You know, it's so with the application, there's a lot of different businesses. So we try to make it generic so that anybody can sign up. But you know, you know, merchant A wants a certain feature, and merchant B wants a certain feature. But we try to make it as general as possible. And you know, we can't cater to everybody, but we try to do what we can.
Right.
And so we're just trying to make it, you know, a little bit more specific. Not so much that like, all right, like, whatever you want, we will give you. No, but like, just like, all right, it's a good feature.
Yep.
It's worth the time, the money, the resource, the effort to do this.
Yep.
And now those 4 questions is always a good thing. Is it worth your time? Is it worth your money? Is it anything? Those are great questions, dude.
But do you see pain points
Pain points?
in the service? Stress points?
I mean, I mean that industry is really fast paced. You know, it's just in and out, in and out, in and out. You know, we try to make their lives easier. You know, QuickBook integration, reporting. You know, here's a list of all the customers that ever came through your door and how much they bought and sold and what they bought. And then, you know, for you to have. And you know, once you see them, then you know, like, oh, I remember you from, you know, way back when, and you are #1 customer and don't even know it. You know, things like that. So the things you can do with technology, man, it's great. Bob, any ideas for tech? What would you change about Shakers? What would you automate? What would you if you could build the perfect system? What would it do?
Well, we're looking for a system that'll integrate both our booking system for our tours, for example, and work with our reservations as well, and certainly work with the POS system. So far, we've not found a system that's able to do all those things in one. So we've at least narrowed it down from 3 systems into 2 systems, but I'd rather have one system that would do it all. So that would be the first step.
You hear that, people? Software challenge. Figure that out.
What's your thoughts for like virtual tourism?
Virtual tours? I love virtual tours.
Because you know how you got like thousands of bikes, you got all the mirror apps right now with training, yoga, fitness.
Well, that's our next step, but I've got a lot to talk about with that as well, but we have to also monetize that. So I'm all about providing information, a template for people which they can start to explore and start to do things that work for themselves, but I think that part of us is still about the monetization of things. So we want to create this program, and we have exquisite tours as they are, not just Milwaukee, but for other cities. And we want to take that then and have that done as a drone situation where you can be anywhere at any time and you can see the tour take place. And hopefully it's going to inspire you to actually, you know, get your feet up and actually walk the tour as well. But it's a big world. There's a lot to see that I think people aren't just taking advantage of. So if we had that template, they have the ability, an app, whatever it might be, that people can look at different things, whether it's Alcatraz or something else, that would be extraordinary.
Yeah, that'd be huge. Yeah, if you could figure that out, that'd be great. How many other people would use
if
that?
you could figure that out.
Monetize it. Oh.
The monetization, I can, you know, I've got my ideas on how that's going to happen, but I need that guy that's going to take that drone and they're going to get the technology to merge together, and then we can make a real happy thing out of it for everyone.
I hope you can monetize it. If you have an idea, like I said, critical thinking, people. Just,
that might be off camera, but we can.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Yeah, can't give away the secret sauce.
There you go. Cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
This has been brilliant having you in, brother.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate you taking the time for it.
And, always, yeah. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I'd like to catch up in a couple of months because you're moving so fast. I want to see where you're at.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Friends, thank you very much for tuning in today, and I really appreciate your taking the time for this. And if nothing else, I hope there's the takeaway is to expand your mind and open yourself to new possibilities, and don't get stuck in the standard myopic way that we approach life. Cheers to you. Thank you.